Today in history. That's right. It's time for our daily journey to the past.
Yes, it is, and we have one event to share with our listeners. This morning, we'll get to it right after this quiz question. Elvis Presley was known as the king of what? Number one, jazz, or number two, rock and roll? The question again, Elvis Presley was known as the king of what? Number one, jazz, or number two, rock and roll? If you know the answer, you can text it in on your cell phone, pounder sharp 1045 for 50 or 101, depending on the length of your text, or you can leave us a message on our Bandi board, and the prize this time is a Weishik Sampungwa.
That's right. Okay, so we are going to be talking about just one very particular event today, and here it is.
Today in history. In 1935, Elvis Presley was born.
1935년 1월 7일은 1월 8일인가요? 1월 8일이겠죠, 그죠? 자, 엘비스 프레슬리가 태어난 날입니다.
Yes, that's right. Elvis Presley was born on this day, so we celebrate the birthday of one of the most iconic figures in the music industry of the 20th century.
That's right. And well, he was none other than Elvis Presley, who was born on this very day in 1935. Well, known as the King of Rock and Roll, or simply the King, Presley is considered now as the best-selling solo artist in the history of recorded music, having sold more than 600 million records worldwide.
Despite his love for music at a young age, not everyone could see his talent early on. In high school, his music teacher told him that he was not talented when it came to singing and even gave him a C in his music class.
어머, 그랬구나.
Oops.
I know. 내가 잘못했다, 나중에.
Yeah, right.
Well, but he didn't let that bring him down, and it was only a few years later when Elvis Presley exploded in popularity with his hit single, Heartbreak Hotel, which topped the Billboard charts for 7 weeks in 1956 and sold 1 million copies that year.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel.
Even after his passing in 1977, he has continued to be incredibly popular. Presley is commonly named one of the highest-earning deceased celebrities in the world and made over $60 million in 2010 alone.
In 2010, only 6 years ago.
Pretty unbelievable,
Oh, 5
right?
years ago, I'm sorry. Well, he has been inducted into 4 music halls of fame, including the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986 and the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1998.
Each year, over 500,000 tourists visit his famous Graceland mansion in Tennessee, making it the second most viewed home in the United States. What's number one? The White House.
The White House.
Which makes sense, right?
그러네.
It was even named, talking about Graceland, a National Historic Landmark in 2006.
와, 2006년엔 미국의 어떤 그 국가적인 유적으로도 등록이 됐다고 합니다. 꼭 들려봐야 할 곳 뭐 이렇게 되겠죠. 네, 엘비스 프레슬리의 생일이었습니다.
Happy birthday to the king, right?
Right.
All right, well, that's it for today in history. Before we finish up the answer to the quiz question, it was Elvis Presley was known as the king of what? Was it number one, jazz, or number two, rock and roll? And the answer is number two, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
And that's going to do it for this morning's Today in History. We'll be back tomorrow with more from the past.